Aaron Bauman transfer battle. Why 4 European giants want Ajax's 18-year-old star. Welcome back to Unite United News, your most trusted source for everything Manchester United and the latest transfer news that matters to Red Devils fans. While other outlets throw around rumors and half-truths, we bring you the real story behind every transfer saga. We know you depend on us to cut through the noise and give you the facts that actually matter. Today we are talking about a young talent that has caught the attention of some of the biggest clubs in world football. Aaron Bauman, an 18-year-old defender from Ajax, is being watched by Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, and Barcelona. But what makes this teenager so special? And more importantly, why should United fans care about this transfer battle? Let us dive deep into everything you need to know about Aaron Bauman and why he could be the next big thing in football. Who is Aaron Bauman and why is everyone talking about him? Before we get into which clubs want to sign him, let us start with the most important question. Who exactly is Aaron Bauman? And what has he done to get 4 of Europe's biggest clubs interested in his services? Aaron Bauman is an 18-year-old centre-back who plays for Ajax Amsterdam. If that name sounds familiar, it should. Ajax have a long history of developing some of the best young players in world football. Think about players like Matthijs de Ligt, Frenkie de Jong, and Jadon Sancho who all made their mark at Ajax before moving to bigger clubs. Bouwman has been making waves in Ajax's youth system and has recently started getting opportunities with the first team. At 18 years old, he already shows the kind of composure and reading of the game that you normally see in much older players. What makes Bouwman special is not just his physical attributes, though he has those too. He stands tall and strong, perfect for a centre-back in modern football. But what really sets him apart is his intelligence on the pitch. He knows when to step forward with the ball and when to stay back and defend. Ajax coaches have been impressed with how quickly he has adapted to first-team football. In a league known for developing young talent, Bouwman has stood out as someone with real potential to play at the highest level. Why are 4 giant clubs chasing one teenager? You might be wondering why clubs like Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, and Barcelona are all interested in the same 18-year-old player. What is it about Aaron Bauman that has caught the attention of scouts from these massive clubs? The answer lies in what football experts call potential. In today's transfer market, clubs are not just looking for players who can help them right now. They are looking for players who could become superstars in 3, 4, or 5 years' time. Bouwman fits this profile perfectly. He has shown enough quality at youth level and in his early first-team appearances to suggest he could develop into a top-class centre-back. But he is still young enough that his transfer fee would be much lower than buying an established star. Think about it from a business perspective. If Bouwman develops the way these clubs think he will, they could end up with a player worth 50 or 60 million pounds in a few years' time. But right now, they might be able to sign him for 10 or 15 million pounds. This is exactly the kind of smart transfer business that successful clubs do. They identify talent early, sign them before their value explodes, and then benefit from having world-class players who cost them a fraction of what they would cost on the open market later. What would Aaron Bauman bring to Manchester United? Now let us focus on what really matters to United fans. What would Aaron Bauman actually bring to Manchester United if the club decided to sign him? First, let us talk about United's current situation at centre-back. The club has players like Harry Maguire, Raphael Varane, and Lisandro Martinez in that position. But football clubs always need depth, especially in such an important position. Bauman would not be expected to come in and start immediately at United. Instead, he would be seen as a long-term investment. A player who could learn from the experienced defenders already at the club while gradually getting opportunities to prove himself. One thing that makes Bauman attractive to United is his style of play. He is comfortable with the ball at his feet, which is crucial in modern football. Centre-backs today need to be able to pass the ball out from the back and start attacks for their team. Bauman has shown this ability during his time at Ajax. He does not just boot the ball upfield when he gets possession. Instead, he looks for intelligent passes that can help his team keep the ball and build attacks from the back. He is also strong in the air, which would be useful for United in both defensive and attacking situations. Premier League football involves a lot of crosses and set pieces, so having a center-back who can win headers is always valuable. How does United's interest compare to the other clubs? While United are one of 4 clubs interested in Bouwman, each club would offer him something different. Let us break down what each option might look like for the young defender. Chelsea have been very active in signing young players in recent years. They have a track record of bringing in promising teenagers and either developing them for their first team or selling them for profit later. For Bouwman, Chelsea could offer the chance to learn in one of the world's best training facilities. Liverpool are currently one of the strongest teams in Europe. They have a good relationship with Dutch players, with several already in their squad. For a young Dutch player like Bouwman, the chance to join Liverpool and learn from world-class defenders could be very tempting. Barcelona have always been known for their youth development. Their La Masia Academy has produced some of the greatest players in football history. For any young player, the chance to join Barcelona and be part of their tradition would be hard to turn down. But Manchester United also has advantages in this battle. United have a long history of giving young players opportunities in the first team. Players like Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, and others have come through United's system and become stars. For Bouwman, United might represent the best chance of actually playing first-team football relatively quickly. While he might have to wait longer for opportunities at Chelsea, Liverpool, or Barcelona, United's recent struggles mean they might be more willing to give chances to promising young players. What are the financial aspects of this transfer? Money always plays a big role in transfer deals, especially when multiple big clubs are competing for the same player. So what kind of financial commitment would signing Aaron Bauman require? Based on reports from reliable transfer sources, Bouwman would likely cost somewhere between £10 and £20 million. This might seem like a lot of money for an 18-year-old, but in today's transfer market, it is actually quite reasonable for a player with his potential. To put this in perspective, United have spent much larger amounts on players who have not worked out. If Bouwman develops as expected, he could end up being worth much more than his initial transfer fee. The financial aspect becomes more complicated when you consider that all 4 interested clubs have different financial situations. Chelsea and Manchester United probably have the most spending power right now. Liverpool are also financially strong, but they tend to be more careful with their transfer spending. Barcelona are in a different situation. The Spanish giants have well-documented financial problems and might struggle to compete with the Premier League clubs when it comes to transfer fees and wages. This could actually work in United's favor. If it comes down to a bidding war, United should be able to compete financially with anyone except maybe Chelsea. And United's history of developing young players might give them an edge over their rivals. Why this transfer makes sense for United's long-term planning. Let us step back and think about why signing Aaron Bauman would fit into Manchester United's bigger picture. What would this transfer mean for the club's long-term planning? United have been trying to rebuild their squad after several disappointing seasons. Part of this rebuilding process involves signing younger players who can grow with the club and become key players for many years. Bouwman fits perfectly into this strategy. At 18 years old, he could potentially play for United for the next 10 or 15 years if he develops as expected. This is exactly the kind of signing that builds the foundation for long-term success. United also need to think about the age profile of their squad. Some of their current centre-backs are getting older and will need to be replaced in the next few years. Signing Bouwman now would mean having his replacement ready when the time comes. From a financial perspective, signing young players like Bouwman also makes sense. If he develops well, his transfer value could increase dramatically. Even if United decided to sell him in a few years, they could make a significant profit. What are the risks and challenges? Of course, signing any young player comes with risks and challenges. Not every promising 18-year-old becomes a world-class player. So what are the potential downsides of signing Aaron Bauman? The biggest risk is simply that he might not develop as expected. Football is unpredictable, and there are many examples of players who looked promising at 18 but never reached their potential. Injuries, lack of mental strength, or simply reaching a ceiling in their development can all prevent young players from becoming stars. Another challenge is the transition from Dutch football to the Premier League. The English top flight is faster, more physical, and more demanding than most other leagues. Some players struggle to adapt to these differences. There is also the question of playing time. If United signed Bouwman, he would need to be patient and wait for opportunities. Some young players struggle with not playing regularly and can become frustrated or lose confidence. Finally, there is the pressure that comes with playing for Manchester United. The club has millions of fans around the world, and every mistake gets analyzed and criticized. Not all young players can handle this kind of pressure. How does this transfer fit United's recent transfer strategy? To understand whether signing Bouwman makes sense, we need to look at United's recent transfer strategy and see how this deal would fit in. Under their current management, United have been trying to sign younger players who can develop at the club. They have moved away from signing older, established stars who want huge wages but might only play well for a season or two. This strategy makes sense for several reasons. Younger players are usually less expensive. They are more likely to improve while at the club. And if they do become stars, United can benefit from their best years rather than signing them after their peak. Bouwman would fit perfectly into this approach. He is young, talented, and relatively affordable. He represents exactly the kind of signing that United should be making if they want to build a successful team for the future. The signing would also show that United are serious about competing with other big clubs for the best young talent. This is important for the club's reputation and could help them win future transfer battles. What do Ajax think about losing their young star? Before any transfer can happen, Ajax would need to agree to sell Aaron Bauman. So what is Ajax's position on potentially losing one of their most promising young players? Ajax have a long history of developing young players and then selling them to bigger clubs for significant profits. This is part of their business model, and they accept that they cannot keep their best young talent forever. However, Ajax also want to make sure they get fair value for their players. They know that Bouwman has the potential to become a very valuable player, so they will not sell him cheaply. Ajax might also prefer to keep Bouwman for another season or two to continue his development. Sometimes it is better for young players to get more experience at a smaller club before making the jump to a giant like United. The Dutch club will also consider which club would be best for Bouwman's development. They have good relationships with several big clubs and might prefer to sell to a club where they think the player has the best chance of success. What would Bouwman's role be at United initially? If Manchester United did sign Aaron Bauman, what role would he play in the team initially? This is an important question because it affects both the player's development and United's planning. Most likely, Bouwman would start as a squad player who gets occasional opportunities in cup matches and less important league games. This would allow him to adapt to English football gradually without too much pressure. United's coaching staff would work with him on the training ground to help him understand the tactical requirements of the Premier League. The pace and physicality of English football can be a shock for young players coming from other leagues. He would also benefit from learning alongside United's experienced defenders. Players like Raphael Varane have played at the highest level for club and country and could teach Bouwman a lot about positioning, communication, and reading the game. As Bouwman adapts and improves, he would gradually get more opportunities. If he impresses in training and in his early appearances, he could find himself competing for a regular first-team place sooner than expected. How do United fans feel about this potential signing? United fans always have opinions about potential transfers, and the possible signing of Aaron Bauman has generated plenty of discussion among supporters. Many fans are excited about the prospect of signing a highly rated young defender. They see it as exactly the kind of smart transfer business that United should be doing. Getting a promising player before his value explodes is the type of move that successful clubs make regularly. Other fans are more cautious. They point out that United have signed promising young players before who did not work out. They worry about spending money on potential rather than proven quality. Some fans are also concerned about whether United have the right environment to develop young players properly. The club has been through a lot of changes in recent years, and some supporters worry that this instability might not be ideal for nurturing young talent. However, most United fans seem to agree that signing players like Bouwman represents a better strategy than some of the expensive, short-term signings the club has made in recent years. What are the next steps in this transfer saga? So where do things stand right now with the Aaron Bauman transfer situation? What are the next steps, and when might we know more about his future? Currently, all 4 clubs are in the monitoring phase. They are watching his performances closely and gathering information about his character, injury history, and development potential. This is normal for transfers involving young players. The next step would likely be for one or more clubs to make official contact with Ajax to discuss a potential transfer. This is where things get serious, and we start to see which clubs are genuinely committed to signing him. Ajax will then need to decide whether they are willing to sell now or whether they want to keep Bouwman for another season. This decision will depend on several factors, including the transfer fee offered and their own plans for the player. If Ajax decide to sell, we could see a bidding war between the interested clubs. This is where United's financial strength could give them an advantage over some of their rivals. The transfer window timing is also important. While the summer transfer window is now closed, clubs can still plan for future windows. A January move might be possible, but a summer transfer seems more likely. Why this story matters for United's future. You might wonder why we are spending so much time discussing a potential transfer of an 18-year-old who most people have never heard of. Why does this story matter so much for Manchester United? The answer is that these kinds of transfers often define a club's future success. The best clubs in the world are constantly identifying and signing the next generation of stars before their rivals do. If United can win the race for players like Bouwman, it gives them a huge advantage. Instead of spending 60 or 70 million pounds on established players, they can build a team of talented young players who grow together. This approach also creates a better culture at the club. Young players who develop at United often have stronger connections to the club than expensive signings who might leave for more money elsewhere. From a financial perspective, signing young players like Bouwman also makes sense. Even if some do not work out, the ones who do become stars more than make up for the investment in those who do not. The competition. How strong are United's rivals? To understand United's chances of signing Aaron Bauman, we need to look at the competition from Chelsea, Liverpool, and Barcelona. How strong are these rivals? And what advantages do they have? Chelsea have been very aggressive in the transfer market for young players. They have the financial resources to compete with anyone, and their location in London can be attractive to players. However, Chelsea's squad is already very large, which might limit opportunities for young players. Liverpool are arguably the strongest team among the four clubs right now. They can offer Champions League football and the chance to work with one of the world's best managers. However, Liverpool's first-choice centre-backs are still relatively young, which might limit opportunities for Bouwman. Barcelona have the appeal of being one of the most famous clubs in world football. Their history of developing young players is legendary, and many players dream of wearing the Barcelona shirt. However, their financial problems are well documented and might prevent them from competing on transfer fees. This analysis suggests that United might actually be in a strong position. They can compete financially with Chelsea and Liverpool, and they might be able to offer more playing opportunities than their rivals. What this means for United's transfer strategy. The pursuit of Aaron Bauman tells us something important about Manchester United's overall transfer strategy. It shows that the club is thinking long-term rather than just trying to fix immediate problems. This represents a change from some of United's transfer business in recent years. Previously, the club sometimes focused on signing older, established players who could make an immediate impact. While this approach can work in the short term, it often creates problems later when those players decline or become too expensive. The new approach of signing young, talented players like Bouwman is much more sustainable. It allows United to build a squad that can compete for many years rather than just 1 or 2 seasons. This strategy also helps with financial fair play regulations. Signing younger players for smaller fees gives clubs more flexibility in their spending and helps them stay within the rules. If United continue with this approach, we can expect to see more transfer stories like the Bouwman saga in the future. The club will likely target other young players who have the potential to become stars. Final thoughts. Should United sign Aaron Bauman? After analyzing all aspects of this potential transfer, what is our conclusion? Should Manchester United try to sign Aaron Bauman? Based on everything we know, this looks like exactly the kind of signing United should be making. Bouwman has the talent and potential to become a top-class centre-back. He fits the age profile that United are targeting. and his transfer fee would be reasonable for a player with his potential. The risks are manageable. Yes, he might not develop as expected, but that is true of any young player. The potential rewards far outweigh the risks in this case. United also seem to be in a good position to win this transfer battle. They can compete financially with their rivals, and they might be able to offer better opportunities for playing time. From a strategic perspective, signing Bouwman would send a positive message about United's ambitions. It would show that the club is serious about competing for the best young talent in world football. The only question is whether United's decision-makers see it the same way. Sometimes clubs miss out on talented young players because they hesitate or because they focus on other targets. Our recommendation: at United News, we believe Manchester United should definitely try to sign Aaron Bauman. This is exactly the kind of smart, forward-thinking transfer that could help United return to the top of world football. The 18-year-old has shown enough quality to suggest he could develop into a world-class center-back. His age and potential make him a perfect fit for United's long-term planning, and his likely transfer fee makes this a low-risk, high-reward investment. United should move quickly to secure this signing before their rivals do. These kinds of opportunities do not come around often, and the club cannot afford to miss out on talented players because of hesitation or poor planning. We will continue to follow this story closely and bring you all the latest developments as they happen. Remember, at United News, we do not just report the rumors. We dig deep to bring you the analysis and insight you need to understand what these transfers really mean for Manchester United. What do you think about Aaron Bauman? Should United sign him? Do you think he has what it takes to succeed at Old Trafford? Let us know your thoughts, and keep coming back to United News for all the latest transfer news and analysis that matters to Red Devils fans. Stay with us for more exclusive content, in-depth analysis, and the truth behind every Manchester United story. Because when you want the real story, not just the headlines, United News is the only source you can trust.